Greetings, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you the message to believe what the narcissist showed you. Man, we just all run into it, don't we? And if you're being honest with yourself, you know that you've been there. Maybe you're there right now, maybe you'll be there again, where you think to yourself that the narcissist is now somehow behaving differently than they were when you were with them. And you're not believing what they showed you throughout the duration of that relationship. I have no idea everyone's situation. I only know mine, and actually a few others that have shared it with me. But if you get to see this narcissist, if you still have to experience them, if you still have to in any way deal with them, I know that it can be difficult. I'm telling you right now, consider yourself really fortunate and really blessed if you were in a situation where you were able to end things with the narcissist or vice versa, and then you really never had to see them again. And you really never had to have anything to do with them whatsoever. They just disappeared. And and I'm not even talking about whether or not they have tried to hoover you or not, or whether they will or not. That's a whole different subject. But if you were able to break it off, maybe you live far away from them. Maybe you live far enough away. Maybe it's not even a distance thing, but you just don't cross paths. And you were able to block them and you just don't see them. You don't live close enough where you run into them at the grocery store. Lord forbids you don't work with them. So, if you didn't have to deal with that, consider yourself really fortunate. Because that, I'm telling you right now, that makes it 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 times easier if you just never have to see them. Yes, you're going to have that trauma bond, that spell to be broken no matter what. But that spell is a lot easier to break if you literally have nothing to do with them. That's why people talk about and have for ages no contact. No contact, if possible, because every time they reinsert themselves into your life or you run into them or anything happens, it just triggers things. Even if you think you're in a really good place, it can still trigger things a little bit. It's possible. Not always. If you have sincerely broken that bond, that trauma bond and the spell, and they're just meaningless to your life, and you can get there because I'm there, and many others are there, then it's fine. If you have to run into them somewhere on accident, it's all right. Otherwise, it can set you back. And if you're still kind of living a little bit in that spell, it'll really set you back. So consider yourself fortunate if you never run into them. But here's the thing. Most of us are in a situation where we're either still under the spell or we do have to run into them in some capacity, or they come up somehow, some way. And if you have to share kids with them, I'm sorry. But most of us are in a situation where we had to, in some way, see them go on afterwards. In some way, you had to see their life as they went on after the entanglement ended. And here is the thing we fight, that all of us have fought at some point in time, or are, or will, that we actually think somehow, against all odds, this person is now different than they were when I knew them. And we stop believing what we saw the entire time. So this is one of the things that continues to stand out for me, because I actually think it's one of the greatest temptations to fall into the trap of thinking it was just when they were with me. Or even, yeah, they were like this their whole lives and then with me, but now, now they're different than they were. You know why? Because Brian, I see it. Brian, I watch it. I've seen the narcissist has gone on. I've seen them prosper. I've seen them move into another house, and they're in another relationship, and in another, and then maybe even another. But they're living in a nicer house now, maybe, or they have this person, or they've upgraded their job, or, and we actually think somehow their life is better and they're an improved version of themselves now. Guys, here's my simple message about this. If you have, and it's a temptation, don't get me wrong, I get it. I totally understand why you feel that way. And I'm going to get to that. But let me promise you this. If you believe that, it is a delusion. That is not the truth. And it's not the truth for the one I dealt with. It's not the truth for the one you dealt with or any of us. Plainly as I can say it, the idea that they went on after you and now they're living a better life and they're an improved person is just ridiculous. It is a type of delusion. It's not the truth. And more importantly, I'm going to go so far as to say this. We know that the last thing we would want is the narcissist to win in anything. And they don't. They don't win in life. But there are little victories that can be done. And let me tell you one of the little victories a narcissist can have. If they have somehow convinced you that they are now doing better and they're better off without you and they're happier and they've gotten their life in order and it's peaches and cream and roses and daisies. And they're just walking down the yellow brick road right now, holding somebody's hand and doing life the right way. If they, excuse me, if they have convinced you of that, they've won. Yeah, they've won. In a sense, not maybe the war, not maybe the whole thing, but they've won at least a miniature, at least a small battle because they've convinced you of a lie. They have convinced themselves throughout the course of their lives of many lies. They lie all the time. The only time they don't lie and they do tell the truth is when the truth will help them or the truth is a very, very small thing. Sure, maybe they get back from the grocery store and you say, "Hey, did you pick up the cereal?" And they say, "Yeah, I got it." That's the truth, isn't it? But the truth about a small thing. Another time they might tell the truth is if it's going to benefit them, because sometimes the truth benefits you, as a narcissist even. Satan doesn't always lie. Not always. Remember in the temptations with Jesus? He gives him 3 temptations. It's in Luke 4. This is the one I'm thinking of. It's in Luke 4. One of the things he says is that he offers them the kingdoms of the world. And he says, all of this has been given to me, and I can give it to whoever I want. That was not a lie. And I'm not going into a deep theology lesson here, but when Adam and Eve rebelled against God and followed the temptation of the serpent, they gave it over to him. That's why Paul calls Satan the God of this age. That's why Jesus said the ruler of this world, the devil, is coming. He wasn't lying, but in telling the truth, Satan was trying to manipulate Jesus. I'm telling you, this is a sick thing I've just thought about recently. I'm bringing up as consistently as I can. The narcissist, like the devil, they do tell the truth because some people say, well, the narcissist only lies. They only ever lie. They don't ever tell the truth. That's not accurate. They'll tell the truth while they manipulate with it. How wicked is that? So they, in a sense, have won at least a miniature battle if they've convinced you of one of the million lies that they do tell, which is that their life is better off. Their life is in order. They're getting it right. They're not the same. They're not like they were. And you know what else they convince you of? And here's what it really boils down to. This is important. If they're able to convince you that they are living a better life now, then you know what that really means? To many of us, do you know what that means? We were actually the problem. There's something badly wrong with us. Because when we were with the narcissist, they couldn't get it right to save their lives. This battle, it was so toxic. It was this tug of war all the time. There are a million things we know that they do constantly. Why couldn't, and how many times did you wonder, why can't they just get it right? What is so hard about this? Why can't we just wake up one day, communicate, have a good day, have this mutual relationship where I'm in it, you're in it, we're caring about each other's needs. It's just smooth. How many times did you wonder? I know I did. Sometimes I even think to this day just about the narcissist in general. All of them. How is it that they just can't accept things being peaceful? How can any human being not, and why would they not, want a relationship to go well? Because they clearly don't. They clearly do not. How is it that they would actually prefer things to be tumultuous and absurd and ride a roller coaster and have all these screaming fits and rage moments and tears and crying and silent treatment and storming out and all this nonsense? How is it that they would prefer to have this? Why is it that they can't just live in stability? They can't. They won't. So they have convinced you in many cases that their life is better now. And you think what you're seeing is the truth. And if you believe this, you have basically believed that you are the problem. And guys, friends, that is the biggest, that might be the biggest thing the narcissist does that is devastating. When they are able, and this is their goal, when they are able to convince people who don't have serious issues, everyone has things they deal with. But when they're able to convince you, a person who was getting it right, many of us are narrow path walkers, and you know what I'm saying. If you get it, you get it. They were able to convince us that we are doing life the wrong way, that we can't cook and we can't clean and we're not spiritually devout, and it's actually us who are spiritually corrupt, and there's darkness in us, and we're a bad partner, and we can't get it right, and we're not reliable, and we're not dependable, and we can't take care of ourselves, and we can't live alone, and we can't, and we can't. And they convinced you of all of this. How much of that was actually true prior to the narcissist? None. None of that is accurate about you or me, but that is exactly what they want to convince you of. And if they are able to convince you that they are now living a better life apart from you, then what that means is it was you. It was you, man. See, I'm doing great. I just needed a change of partner. Again, yeah, I know I've had 1,000 partners in the past. It never worked. It never worked. It never worked. And it didn't work with you either, but now it is. I just needed the right person in my life. That's another lie. How many of us have believed at one point or another, or maybe still do, unfortunately, that the narcissist just needed to get the right person in their lives? That's all they needed. How many of you believe right now that the narcissist you're thinking of somehow did find that right person and now it's clicking? And if you believe that, and if you believe any of these things, then they are still winning in your life a little bit, at least a little bit. Because in accepting the false reality that they are now doing better and they just needed a change of partner, and it was not about them. It wasn't, they weren't the problem. They weren't the common denominator. They're they're doing well now. If you believe that, then you also have to believe that you were actually the problem. It didn't work because of you, because you weren't reliable enough or dependable enough or attractive enough or you didn't have a nice enough house or a good enough job or anything else, or you weren't a good enough parent, anything else, or your past wasn't good enough. They will convince you of anything they can convince you of. They'll hit on all of those or any of them, or they'll find new things and different things. They have to somehow convince you that you were the problem and you were not good enough. Because if you were, it would have worked like it's working now for me and this other person. And the reason I talk about this a lot, including today, is because I think it's one of the biggest things that keep people in chains. And I've experienced it. It's not that I haven't been through this. And every once in a while, because I'm in a unique situation, as I've said before, and I can't disclose it, I'm in a unique situation where I have, first, I had to watch the narcissist go on with their life. I had to, and I didn't want to because it was so painful. Now I get to watch it because it's not painful to me, but it's educational, and I get to bring it back to you guys. I'm truly, it's just dead to me, but I get to observe. And every once in a while, it creeps into my mind. Maybe this is true. I mean, maybe her life really is different now. Maybe she's got it right for this. And then I stop and I go, no, it's a joke. When you come to really understand, and most importantly, guys, the topic of this video, when you believe what the narcissist showed you, when you actually believe what you experienced with that person, you know it's hogwash. The idea that they went off and improved and are doing it right way now is just absurd. It's lunacy beyond anything you can think of. It literally is laughable. I laugh almost out loud sometimes when that thought crosses my mind because it is that absurd. And I always say the same thing to myself and to God. I know who that person is. It's a joke. They're not doing better because I know who that person is. Because I, for a while now, a long time now, and currently believe in who they showed me they are. That is the thing. Do you believe what the narcissist showed you? Do you remember all the days blown up, all the times destroyed? Every time it was going well, and you're like, we're doing a real relationship. And then they do something to just torpedo it, crash to the ground. Every single time, bar none. Remember how many good times you had with the narcissist that weren't surrounded by bad times? How many? One, two, zero. That's the answer for me. Every single good time we ever had was surrounded, sandwiched around horrible, dreadful experiences. And it's the same for you, I'm sure. Because they can't keep it going. They can't keep it together. There isn't stability. They hate it. They thrive in the chaos. Do you remember the times that they brought other people up just to make you jealous? The express purpose of making you jealous, to trigger you, to make you doubt yourself and feel insecure. Remember all the times that they just maybe hung up on you abruptly or left a text on red for 8 hours a day? Do you remember the times where they got mad about a smashed loaf of bread or the fact that you bought maybe an air fryer and you didn't keep the warranty for it for their whole life of the air fryer? So they stormed out and disappeared for 2 days. Anything to start a fight, anything to probably go off and talk to these other people they're dealing with. That's for another subject. Guys, I got to go on. All the times you heard you're not good enough, you're too fat, you're too thin, you need to do this with your beard, you need to do that, you need to do, or it's no wonder your exes wouldn't stay with you. It's no wonder your ex-wife divorced you. It's no wonder your ex-husband divorced you. It's no wonder. How many times they just poked at every possible little insecurity that they could conceive of until they found one. Because we're all human. And you actually think, as I once did, this is not making fun of you. I'm trying to help you guys. You know that. How many times did you think, it's me? I'm the problem. I'm the one who's causing this. If I just behaved better, if I just gave more, if I tried more, it's me. How many times did you think it? And every single time that you think it, they win. But how many times do you now just push all that away and say, oh, yeah, I remember the way they were with me. All those things I just listed and the whole litany, I could just go on for hours and hours about all the things they do to you. And you suddenly think that that person took all that goodness, all that wonderful behavior, and they went on to somebody else, and that all stopped. Do you understand the lunacy of that idea? That you saw a demon, a wicked monster who hurled you around behind closed doors, mentally, spiritually, some of you even physically. You saw the devil in the flesh behind closed doors over and over in every single possible way imaginable, all while you gave to no end. You gave and gave and gave, but you think somehow they got the right person now and their behavior is pure. I just can't put into words, guys, how ridiculous that is. And if we believe that, then we have forgotten everything they showed us to be because they showed us who they were. Who you saw is who they are. And it's who they are now. And they do get worse because you can't carry this kind of behavior and do these kind of wicked deeds and build them up and build them up and somehow improve. How are you going to improve when that's your lifestyle? What did the narcissist do while with you and immediately thereafter to improve? What did they do? What did you see that made you think they were getting better? It just got worse for me. I know that's how it works. So the idea that something magically, like they flipped this switch somewhere and they just went, and they were a completely new person. Why would you think that? Did they come to the Lord? Did they get down on their hands and knees and repent and accept responsibility of all the things they've done? Do you want to know? You want to know how I can 100% guarantee, ironclad, that that did not happen? There's actually a lot of reasons, but here's the biggest one. If they had done such a thing, they would have come back to you and at least repented and at least said, I now understand how I treated you. It was awful. I was in a really bad place. I did terrible things to you. I'm not trying to get you back. I just want to tell you I'm sorry. You were a great person. And I blew it up. It was me. I accept responsibility. How many of us, I did, longed to hear those words from the narcissist? Matter of fact, the ones that have dealt with, to this day, if they came back to me and said that and demonstrated that, I would throw a party. I'd do handstands and cartwheels, rejoicing as God and angels would over their sincere repentance. Not coming back to Hoover, actually just accepting responsibility, knowing they have to get it right, wishing you well. That would be a beautiful thing, wouldn't it? If they went on and changed, that would have happened. Because they would feel, anyone who repents would feel so terrible about the way they treated us. You would have to go and apologize. You would have to go and show that sincerity. The fact that they didn't do it 100% unequivocally proves they didn't change. Nothing improved. So, guys, the message of this is really simple. Believe what the narcissist showed you. The person you knew and got to know over the course of however long it was is the person they are. And whatever you think you're now seeing, because that's their whole, I've got a million videos on this. Their whole game is to convince you and the world that they're doing well. Whatever you think you see is not the truth. What you saw in the relationship is the truth. So I hope this is really helpful for somebody, because we all need reminded of this. And I think we need reminded of this point over and over and over. Believe what you saw with the narcissist, because what you saw is who they are. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll come at you with another one here soon. Drop comments below. Until then, God bless.